Hello and welcome to another LRR MTG Deck Tech. I'm Ben Ulmer. Modern Horizons 2 is here, and with it, a brand new batch of legendary creatures to command your decks. One thing I've always wanted was a commander that could dispatch delicious oven-baked evil upon my opponents, and Modern Horizons 2 has delivered. Say hello to Asmarana Shamadamandam, Asmarana Martica Distical Car, Asmarano Martica Dynastical Car, Asmarano Mostadistical Car, Asmarana Icicle Car, Asmarano Mordicadistical Car. Say hello to Asmarano Martica Distina Car.
Got it.
Who, for the rest of the video, I will be referring to as Spooky Chef, in a deck I like to call Another One Bites the Crust. Spooky Chef is a 3/3 human wizard with an absurdly long name and no mana value that reads, as long as you've discarded a card this turn, you may pay black-red hybrid mana to cast this spell. When Spooky Chef enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. We'll get to what the heck that card does in a second. She also reads, sacrifice 2 foods. Target creature deals 6 damage to itself. Somebody call Alton Brown because this kitchen is cutthroat. The Underworld Cookbook is a 1-mana artifact that reads, tap and discard a card, create a food token. Or you can pay 4 mana and tap and sack it to return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. As you can see, Spooky Chef and her cookbook complement each other very nicely. And you can use fresh seasonal ingredients like Grimoire of the Dead, Cathartic Reunion, or Trading Post, because reminder, you need to discard cards to cast your commander. In a pinch, you can use any of the lands that have cycling. And don't worry if you end up misplacing that book. You can utilize Goblin Engineer or Buried Ruin to put it right back into your hand. Spooky Chef does it all. She slices, she dices, she prepares you an entire meal, starting with a graveyard-themed appetizer, moving into the cookbook's madness entree, and finishing with a sweet food token dessert. So, let's roll up our sleeves and get started. The first ingredient we'll want is some madness cards to take advantage of all the discarding we'll be doing. Necrogoyf is Tarmogoyf's angsty big brother. Its power grows the more creatures there are in all graveyards, and it forces everyone to discard on their upkeep. But don't worry, it's symmetrical, so I'm sure your playgroup will be fine with that. Sprinkle in some favorites of the archetype like Big Game Hunter, Bloodhall Priest, Anya's Ravager, and From Under the Floorboards to take advantage of the discard. And don't forget Call to the Netherworld, which lets you grab a black creature card for free. Smell that? We're cooking value. You can also throw in a pinch of everybody's favorite goblin, Squee, to ensure you have a free card to throw in the bin every single turn. You can get even more value from cards like Bone Miser whenever you do any kind of discarding. Shall we move on to the main course? All these cards that we've been putting into our graveyard have been making us some delectable treats that Spooky Chef can take advantage of. Remember, we can sacrifice 2 food tokens to have target creature deal 6 damage to itself. While this can be a great tool to deal with your opponent's creatures, the real sweet treats are cards like Brash Taunter and Stuffy Doll, which are not only great blockers, but also happily devours that 6 damage and uses it to dome your opponent of your choosing. And if you like your deck spicy, cast Arcbond just before you feed it, and you've got yourself a board wipe. Not hot enough for you? Well, it's time we throw our guests a dinner party and give them something they can take home. Open up your pantry and pop cards like Phyrexian Negator and Phyrexian Obliterator into a nice Tupperware. These cards cause a player to sacrifice permanents equal to the damage they receive. So, ship them off to your opponents with Harmless Offering. The next time you sacrifice those 2 foods, those creatures hit themselves for 6 and take the rest of your opponent's board with them. Just be sure to add a dash of food generation cards like Witch's Oven, Taste of Death, and Bake into a Pie so you can serve up treats for everybody. Overall, Spooky Chef is looking to be sweet as pie for Commander, and her low casting cost means that she's never really going to be out of reach. Your opponents might not enjoy watching you force feed an angry goblin or a stuffed doll over and over, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Can you still say the name?
Asberano Mardica Dice Tina Kuldakar.
Nice.
Yeah!